Hey, y'all. I'm Shane Sams, host of the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. Great to be back with you again today, man. I just absolutely get so excited when I get to sit down and talk to an awesome member of our community and help them take their business to the next level and help you take your business to the next level as well by sharing that conversation. Got an awesome, unique guest today. His name is Odell McCants. Odell's got a great backstory. He's a former NBA agent, and he represents NBA players and has represented all of these players before. And over the years and through his career, he's built some amazing relationships with coaches, and he realized there was a need for professional development in the coaching community to help coaches learn the skills that they need to go out and take that next step in their career, go from an assistant to offensive coordinator, go from an assistant to a head coach. He saw a lot of his friends getting held back, but they just didn't have the skills. They had the X's and O's. They knew how to call the plays, and they knew how to coach the kids, but they didn't have that next level of professional development to get to the head coaching level. So now Odell wants to go out and help sports coaches. And we talk about high school coaches, college coaches, multiple sports. We're not just talking about football and basketball here, but he's going to help coaches in his podcast, in his membership website, get the professional development, get the leadership skills they need to go to the next level in their career. Now, one thing that's holding Odell back, which I'm sure is holding many people back who are listening to my voice right now on this podcast, is he's afraid he doesn't have enough content. He needs more content. We always want more content when we're trying to build our membership sites, right, guys? Right, y'all? I don't have enough content to launch. I don't know if I know enough to make enough content to launch. Well, I'm going to help Odell today launch a membership community with no content. So I'm taking that excuse off the table, y'all. All you people out there going, I just don't have enough content. Well, in 30 minutes after listening to this podcast, that excuse is gone, and you're going to be building your membership community out as well. We're going to talk a little bit about pricing, higher ticket prices on tiers of your membership, and also how to use a higher tier in the beginning to build a more passive income tier later. Man, this is a fun conversation with an absolutely great human being. I can't wait for you to listen to my interview with Odell McCants. That's all I've got for right now. I'll be back right after the interview with an awesome Bible verse and a couple announcements for everybody out there in the Flipped Lifestyle audience. I'll see you then. Let's get started. Welcome to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast, where life always comes before work. We're your hosts, Shane and Jocelyn Sams. We're a real family that figured out how to make our entire living online. And now we help other families do the same. Are you ready to flip your life? All right, let's get started. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. It is great to be back with you again this week. Super excited to talk to another member of the Flipped Lifestyle community so we can help them take their online business dream to the next level and change their family's future. Got a great guest for you today, all the way from Washington, D.C., Odell McCants. What's going on, Odell?
Thank you, Shane. Everything is great here, and I'm super excited to be with you.
I am pumped up to talk to you, man, because we have a Kentucky connection. If you're watching this on the YouTube, and if you're not subscribed over on the YouTube channel, flippedlifestyle.com/YouTube, straight there, you'll see the Kentucky on my hat for Go Big Blue, and Odell is wearing a Kentucky shirt
Yes.
in my honor, baby. The Wildcats are represented. I think we might be representing the Wildcats better on this podcast than they are on the basketball court this year.
I would agree with that, Shane.
Right, but we're saying, hey, listen, I've sat in Commonwealth Stadium in 0-10 seasons watching us barely beat Indiana 3-0 on a field goal in the rain, and nobody else was there but me and my buddy. So you know what? I'm blue through and through, true and true, man, all the way.
And I'm married into Big Blue Madness, so you know how that goes.
Oh, yeah, you're sucked into the vortex. It's like a black hole. You're not getting out. There's no way.
That's right.
You're right, man. All right, man, but we're here to talk about, we could go down the rabbit hole on March Madness. We might veer off into basketball talk, but we're here to talk about you and your online business, your online dream, and to see what's happening with you in your world, man. So tell us about you. Tell us about your background, what you've been doing professionally, and tell us a little bit about what you're doing online right now.
Yes, Shane. So for several years, I was an NBA player agent representing clients. My first client was Patrick Patterson of University of Kentucky.
I love that dude, man. That guy, dude, he got a raw deal. He got sucked into, he had to go to the NIT that one year. And man, but like when he finally turned it on, dude, he was a player, just a straight baller. Man.
Yes. So I represented Patrick and several other players in the NBA, the D League, now G League, and overseas throughout Europe and Asia, doing contract negotiation, placing players on teams, contract negotiation, endorsement, and marketing deals. And after several years in that business, Shane got eaten up by that shark-infested world, which is every bit as competitive as you know it to be. Took a little pause, trying to figure what my next move was going to be in sports, because I did not want to just throw those relationships and experiences out the window. And making a pivot now to represent college basketball coaches. I played in college. I played at a very competitive high school as well. And I've always had relationships with coaches even prior to my agent business. And what I always hear from coaches, Shane, as you know, is the question of how can they advance in their career, whether that be advancing as an assistant coach, moving up that assistant coach ladder, and eventually being a head coach. And there are agents out there, but what I've found is that coaches really lack the access to professional development, leadership development, administrative training, resources and content. There's content everywhere on X's and O's, on strength and conditioning, all those things. But I believe the professional development that's going to help a coach be successful, that's what they're lacking. And that's what I'm hearing. So I am in making this pivot, looking to represent college basketball coaches, not just on the job placement and the contract negotiation, marketing, endorsement side, but also I want to move it away from that transactional relationship to transformational, so that we can help coaches really be better at who they are and what they do. And I think the membership model is going to be a great foundation to do that.
Awesome, man. Yeah, when I became, so I went to I know about the shark infested waters. Oh my gosh. When I got into college football coaching at West Virginia, and I got a taste of it, and then I got a job at Eastern Kentucky. And then there was a day, man, where I sat down with Jocelyn and I was like, this is not fun all the time, because it's so competitive to get a lower level job anywhere, even in high school, man. It's cutthroat, shark infested. Like, you have to be competitive. You got to be really super competitive to survive in the coaching world. But the second thing is the professional skills you just talked about. Dude, when I got my first high school head coaching job, I was coming in like, I'm going to call plays and it's going to be fun, but nobody told me that I was going to have to lead parents and lead communities and lead my team. I made so many mistakes in my first 2 years as a head coach, just not even knowing how to explain my expectations to my coaching staff, because that wasn't what the dream was. You think it's all going to be fun and games, calling plays on Friday nights, but you got to fundraise. You got to go out in the community. You got to do all these, like the high school level, but even the college level. A college head coach's job is 90% dealing with people outside of the team.
That's right.
Right. Like that.
That's right.
Coach Rod at West Virginia, he spent as much time with, recruiting and fundraisers and parents and all as he did in the film room.
Yes,
and I don't think people really get that.
And how do you manage conflict management with your athletic director
or other sports? If you're at a smaller school and you're sharing resources, right? And you got two egos in the room. You got other head coaches in the mix, stirring the pot, right? Like this is very needed, man. I know, coming from that world, that it's needed. Let me ask you another follow-up question. So I want to take the representing coaches, agents out of this whole talk. Okay. We're just going to push that to the side, almost like that's the day job. Okay. Is this thing that you're thinking, professional development for coaches, also, is it just for people who want to run through the college ranks in coaching, or is this something you're thinking on a grander scale? Like, this is anybody, if you're an assistant, if you want to be a high school coach, this is to get you to the pinnacle of the game. And it's like that kind of professional development for high school coaches as well. Is that what you're thinking?
So I've been thinking college coaches to really niche down, Shane, and have a focus on what that goal is. So just trying to niche down, and that's where my relationships have been. I've not been thinking that broadly.
Okay. I gotcha. Because that is a great niche, but it's a limited pool, right?
Yep.
So what that's going to probably do in effect is limit eventually. We're gonna have to talk about pricing and structure and tiers at some point in this conversation. And also, keep an open mind, because there's a lot of high school coaches that want to be head coaches, right? There's a lot of assistant coaches that want to be there's a lot of head coaches want to be athletic directors. Like there will be a lot of overlap. I don't think it's going to be that much different. The skills to be a high school head coach are this. What does Sun Tzu say in The Art of War? The management of the many is the same as the management of the few. I think that also applies here. Like, teaching a head coach what to do in his high school is not that much different than teaching the head coach at most colleges what to do. I'm not talking about Michigan and Alabama, right? We're not talking about Nick Saban here. Nick Saban ain't signing up for your program. It's the other people that might need that, and that could open up the market. But you could definitely start in college for sure. Okay.
But I like that idea.
Yeah, man. I mean, if you can make your market bigger with fundamentally the same membership, right? And maybe you just have like what's cool about the membership model is we get to do things that other people can't do. Like, if you say, I'm going to make a course for college coaches, that course is for college coaches. But when we have a membership for professional development for coaches who want to go up the ladder, all of a sudden we have a forum where the high school people talk and the forum where the college people talk. You see what I'm saying? There's also more at stake in college than in high school. As you climb the ladder, you have exponential growth in income on some of these things, right? So like that OC or that DC that might not have those professional development skills to jump to the head coach, that guy's got a massive incentive to figure this out. Like, because what costs most OCs and DC offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators, or basketball guys, if they're the, whatever they do, like what costs them, the reason they don't get the head coaching opportunity is because they don't have the professional development skills. They're the basketball guy.
That's right.
They know the X's and O's. They love the kids. They're good recruiters. But dude, if you don't have that next level, that could be $1 million contract you never get.
That's right.
So that might be a higher tier too, like the college coaches would be willing to pay. Makes sense.
Yes.
All right. So let's talk about this. Where are you at in this online business stream? Now you do have a podcast, right? What's that podcast called?
I do. Beyond the Whistle.
Okay.
Is the name of the podcast.
And what do you talk about on there? Do you interview coaches? What do you do?
Yes. So Beyond the Whistle is a podcast to take coaches beyond the X's and O's for tips and advice on their careers and how they can advance in their careers. I also interview coaches on what their career journeys have been as well.
So you get that 2020 hindsight story to kind of inspire or give nuggets of wisdom to the person who's listening who wants to go to the next level, basically.
Yes.
Gotcha. Now, do you have your website set up, and do you have anything in the membership area at all right now?
I do have a website, McCantsSports.com, but nothing set up as a membership.
I gotcha. Do you own BeyondTheWhistle.com? Have you looked and see if that's available?
I know I do not own that domain. It hasn't been available, but I need to look at some variations, perhaps.
Yeah. Is anybody using it right now? So here's a tip for everybody. So if you go, I'm gonna type in Beyond the Whistle. I'm gonna explain what's happening here to you. I would share my screen, but I want to make myself explain it really good for everybody listening on the podcast here. Okay. So that is not being used. It's being squatted on by a domain provider called Huge Domains, right? Wow. Right now, that domain name, it is available, though. You could buy it for $3,095. But here's the deal. That domain's just sitting there. You can reach out to these companies and you can just totally lowball them, right? Like, and all they can do is say no. And you can just keep going back and forth. So you can find a ballpark of what they would actually let it go for, right? You can call them. That this place has a number. Most of these I've seen, you can usually negotiate these really far down, all right? So even if you're not willing to buy it yet, like maybe you negotiate it down to $500 and you're not willing to buy that yet, at least you'll know what you're working toward, because it would be good to own that domain name since that is the name of your podcast, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that might not be a bad little side project. Just figure out what they want for it, Okay. And I would probably go to like GoDaddy or something like GoDaddy and Namecheap.com. They have built-in brokerages that you can go through them and they'll try to track down the owner and try to buy it. But sometimes you can just go to the website and see if it's for sale. So no one's using it. That's good. It's just, that's silly to pay you're not gonna pay $3,000 for that domain name. So just try to figure out what that price is worth. See if you can work toward owning.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk about why there's no membership. So what's holding you back right now? Is there a mindset issue? Is there a fear? Is something keeping you from saying, okay, I've got this little thing. I've got a little email list. I got a little website going. Like what's holding you back from saying I'm turning this into a membership model?
I think paralysis by analysis. I have the relationships to get things started, maybe with some founding members, coaches who are begging me to represent them, but I have been my personal overwhelm with I need this right platform or model for me to move forward with it.
Yeah.
And I have to say, using the excuse of lack of time, I put in the profile there, the questionnaire, I said, unlike others. I meant to say not unlike others.
Unlike others, I've got a job.
Yeah,
I got stuff to do. All you
right.
bums out there. No, I'm just kidding.
I meant to say unlike others. But Shane, I have used the time tracker that you and Jocelyn have.
Yeah.
But I identified just black holes of time that I have in my day. And I think just also thinking that I need a lot of content in a membership model and keeping up with the content and kind of feeding a content machine on a daily basis. Been kind of overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And then I haven't been consistent in what I have, like the podcast, my newsletter. So I think just the overwhelm of content and time.
Yeah. So I think that yours is interesting. And actually this applies, the more and more people I coach, the more and more people I talk to, the more and more I see this, is most people come to a membership because they want accountability and mentorship, right? Like they need wisdom, right? And I actually kind of coined this the other day. I was talking to a guy and he was kind of asking me, what do you do now? How would you boil this down? And I said, what we really do here is we monetize wisdom. We take people's God-given talents, but also experiences. Like that's really where I find a lot of people can make a whole lot of money is can you monetize the experiences and the path that God puts you on and help pass that experience and that wisdom on to the next person, right? I think that you're looking at maybe starting just a higher tier, like a mastermind group. If you've got the network, you probably have 5 people right now that would pay a higher level of fee, which is basically just a higher ticket membership, right? And they would probably jump in with you, even if it was just like a weekly call. Like if you just had a call scheduled, it was 12, we have lunch together from 12 to 2 on Mondays. Like I would be willing to bet people would pay $297 for that a month. And you could probably find 10 guys and you put them together in a mastermind. So they meet each other. So you sell it as, here's what you bill it as. I'm going to teach, we're going to do training each week. Where I'm going to come in, I'm going to do a workshop. And you're going to, so you write down your 7 ideas of professional development. Like maybe you do a workshop on administration, or maybe you do a workshop called how to get along with your athletic director, right? Or the administration department. And so you come in, you teach what you know for 30 minutes, you open the floor for questions for 30 minutes about the topic. And then you go around the hot seat and ask everybody, what their goals are for that week or something. Right. That's a great way to launch a membership. It doesn't require any content, especially when you have a network of people who are already willing to listen to you because they respect your wisdom. They respect your experience. And you got, like you said, I got guys begging me to do this and that and the other, and they know I can help them. Okay. So just help them. So take content out of it. No rules say that a membership has to have content at the beginning or ever. Right. And that might get you off and running and get some people in stirring the pot where you can learn from them. Do you think you have 5 to 10 people in your network that might be interested in doing a group coaching type membership like that?
Absolutely, Shane. And also that I've been a little reluctant or hesitant to jump into the representation model. I know we took that off the table here, but to kind of bring it back for a minute, I know that from the representation of the player side, the model has been you don't get paid until you place that client or negotiate the contract. And on the player side, there isn't this type of personal professional development. And I haven't wanted to invest this amount of time without knowing what that payout at the end is going to be, if that makes sense. But now
you're going to charge them.
Right. And that's exactly what this does. Exactly.
You're just going to charge them coming in. Like there's no like you join on professional development and I get paid a percentage when you get paid. Exactly. This is just, I'm here. You're a trainer. You're coming in to train them on the skills to go get the job. And here's what you say to people. This is actually probably a good like spin on this. Hey, you know what's cool, guys, is I charge you $297 a month or whatever for this group. We can do like multiple groups and stack them as we learn about the avatar I think this is like only for the college people though, but like maybe you let high school guys in that want to jump, right? Mm-hmm. You know, that would be a good place where so you're going to get networking, you're going to meet people, and you're going to tell them like, when you get that job, I don't even get a cut. Those agents trying to take that 10%, man. No, man, I'm just here to give you the skills. You pay me. This is my fee. We're in it to win it together. I'm going to do whatever it can to help you. If I have someone in my network, sure, I'll reach out and introduce you and whatever. But like right now, I'm just giving you the skills. Every Monday at whatever o'clock, we're going to come together as a group of coaches. You're going to network with these guys. It's like a life group for college coaches is what it really becomes. And we're going to go out and we're going to sell that. And that will charge, you can charge more for that than you think you can. It's not one-on-one coaching. There's no one-on-one things. There can be some one-on-one access through like apps like Voxer, or maybe email access or something where if they have questions in between the calls. But like this is straight up just a group. And imagine if you had 3 of these groups. They were $300 a piece. You had 10 person in each group. So that's $3,000 a month a group. You do one on Monday, one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday. It's 30 humans is all you got to find. And all of a sudden you're making $9,000 a month just from that. Right. So I think that would be that would eliminate the fear of content, because we're going to deliver content in the groups. Right. Each week. It's going to be like, all right, professional development lesson from you, 20 minutes, Q&A. Guys, how can we help each other this week? And then they've got the bat phone somewhere where they can access you on the side. Right. Yep. That's a membership. Like people, I know I talk a lot about like, hey, let's get 1,000 people. Whoa, whatever. But like a membership can be what you want it to be. I mean, making 6 figures talking to 30 guys 3 times a week is not a bad living.
No, that's not.
Right? I mean, I can do that.
That's stealing money, isn't it?
That's $100,000 a year to hang out with cool guys that I like. Right. Like, and look at the value proposition there. Hey guys, look, you give me $300 a month. Okay. And that could be more. It could be 500. It could be whatever. It could be less. I don't know. But like you say, hey, you give me this, I give you these skills. You're stuck. You're at a plateau. I'm going to move you from second tier to head coach. What's the pay raise? Like you can't 300. I mean, you pay me a couple grand a year to learn how to do this. You're going to make $100,000 when you get the head coaching job.
Yep.
So the value proposition is just easy to present. And most of those guys I'd say have also heard other coaches go, yeah, for $10,000, I'll talk to you an hour. Yeah. Tell you how to be a head coach. Bull crap, man. That's not how it works.
That's right.
So like this is a great offer with no content except your podcast. Right.
Yes.
So like, what do you think about that?
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. And as you know, in that profession, sometimes guys just want to talk. I spend a lot of time talking to guys for free. My wife gets tired of it. In fact, and they just want to talk because they're reluctant to share with counterparts, even though they're friends, because they're competing against each other, recruiting players on jobs. So they have a reluctance to be vulnerable in front of a large group. I think a controlled group like this would work. And even have head coaches sometimes who are not willing to share because they're threatened sometimes. Well,
it's like in the WWE, they have that performance center down in Tampa or Orlando, and it's an awesome thing if you ever get a chance to go tour it or anything. But like it's where they train future pro wrestlers, right? And there's a sign in there that says, "You're not here to earn a spot; you're here to take somebody else's." And like that's when you get to the mountaintop, it can feel that way, right? And people get the secrets and they get the whatever and they get they get that mentality. So this could even be, but think about this. There's probably a group of people in the industry that hate that. And they're like, man, I just wish I had a safe place where I could be happy for the other guys in the group. And I wish I just had a safe place where I could go and I could share my tips. I could share, like, if I couldn't get a job, I could get somebody else a job. Like you can build that culture into it from the beginning, right? And that becomes marketing. It's called throwing stones. Like the normal paradigm of coaching is hyper competitive, secretive, protect mine. I'm on top of the mountain. I'm kicking you off so I can hold my spot. Well, okay, throw stones at that. Be like, are you sick of this mentality? Are you sick of doing that? Don't you wish that you had a real network of coaches where everybody helped each other, everybody was happy for each other, and it was led by a guy with a lot of wisdom who could get you the professional development skills you need? Don't you wish that? You create an alternative immediately in the industry, right? That, again, only requires a membership of about 30 people to be six figures.
Yep.
And I don't think that $300 a month is too much. I know coaches, people laugh. People don't understand. Like, if you're not the head guy, there's a coaching salary difference, right? But I think that what coaches do understand is they understand going to clinics. They understand investing in themselves. They understand it. We just get that because it's part of the culture. Buying videos and trainings, and getting in a car for 8 hours to go learn one play from a guy.
That's right.
We get it. The time and money to go to the next level. So these guys aren't going to balk at $297 a month.
And that's a good point. Yes.
Yeah, they understand the investment part of it. So if let's say that that's one tier, and I think that's the tier you start with. And I think that, again, you could do the math on what you're making and say, divide by this, I can get there. Right. I do think that there's opportunity for another tier though, man. Like, I think the high school guys, like, trying to be head, I think that that's where eventually your content could go to create some passive income or to raise the floor. If you got 10 guys paying $300 a month, 2 quit, you lost $600 a month.
Yep.
You're going to feel that. Right.
Yep.
So it'd be nice if you had, like, are you a high school varsity coach? Are you a high school coach and you want to be a head coach someday? And well, it's not all X's and O's. I can teach you the skills you need to do this. And that's where you create videos. That's where you're like, okay, say there's 15 things that you identify that people need to be to move into head coaching. You teach them how to write a resume. You teach them how to do this. You teach them how to do that. Like, whatever that is, I think that's where your content can go. So now the big tier, you can give your people access to those. You make them in a way where everybody would use them. So, like, for example, dealing with administration. I don't care who you are, college or at the relationship between the athletic department and the administration is weird. So, like, how do you do that? Dealing with parents. Every college coach in America still has to deal with parents.
Yep.
They get to pick their parents, but parents are still parents,
yes.
Right? Like, all these things overlap. And, like, that's where maybe someday you've got 100 football coaches, basketball coaches, baseball, whoever it is. You got 100 guys in there for $50 a month. You do a Q&A every month with them, and that's it. It's just content, Q&A, and a chance to hang out and talk to each other. That's another $6,000 or $5,000 a month, right? And that'd be powerful, man. Very powerful, very powerful.
Yeah.
Then your head coaches that you find that join that, who want a bigger job, maybe they want to go to college, they jump in the higher tier, that feeds that, right? And then back on the table, let's say you got 100 dedicated high school and maybe lower level college coaches that didn't want to invest yet in the 300. You get you about 30 people that are doing the other thing, floating back and forth between the tiers, right? A lot of training, a lot of talking, everybody's hanging out. Dude, that's a nice, healthy pool of constant contacts of, Odell, I think you've taught me enough to be a head coach. Could you represent me? And all of a sudden 5 people a year start pouring up into the top of the funnel. And all of a sudden you don't even have to look for clients anymore at that point.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
and I want this to be a place, Shane, where athletic directors know when I have a search, I want to tap into this group because I know they're going to be ready. They're going to be professionally ready.
Yeah, man, that's great. That's freaking great. There could be even eventually, I wouldn't do this at the beginning, you could have an athletic director side of this. Like, you could bring in a lot of those. Moving up the ladder in the sports world is similar, like, I know like the athletic director has got the assistant ADs, and the assistant ADs all want to be the athletic, and the assistant ADs all have the director of football ops and the director of basketball ops and all those guys. There's a way to get into that. There's a lot of fluidity between, and a lot of sports guys become the AD guys, right? So that might even be a second little branch of, hey, I'm tired of coaching. All right, stay in the group. I'm going to put you in. I got 10 guys over here that decided to go into being athletic directors. Let's talk about that. What's that look like? And then you got like one group of the 10, maybe that's those guys. So they're kind of hanging out with each other and understanding what's going on and whatever. There's so many branches you could go. the danger is trying to do them all,
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where I've got to stay focused. And you give me some focus here. Yes.
Yeah. So okay. So let's talk about that. Okay. Let's see what it would look like if we just had a small membership of mastermind type groups, right? The groups need to be around 10. You don't want a bunch of groups. You can have like, for example, like you could have I got a guy, buddy of mine named Aaron Walker, right? He has this awesome membership program. It's called Iron Sharpens Iron. He's been on my podcast before.
Yes.
And I don't know if you've ever heard of him. Yeah.
I have. And Shane, I'm sorry, Rob, I'm so glad you mentioned Aaron, because what I've been envisioning is kind of a combination of what Aaron does and what the Life Coach School, her name
Brooke does. Brooke Castillo.
Yes, that's kind of what I've been.
I think I think you could do it. I think if you started with the bigger tiers, right, and that's the basic principles of that is 8 to 10 guys a group, right? Are you going to do female coaches or just men right now?
I'm focusing on men right now, but I'd be very open to women's coaches.
I'd probably put them in their own world though. Like, I mean, I don't think I'd let them talk to each other. You know what I'm saying? Like a women's coaches and men's coaches, because that's different. People get mad when I say that maybe, but like the women's sports world and the men's sports world is very different in the relationships and how things work.
It's
right?
very different. There are different challenges and different set of politics going on that side. Yes,
totally different. So if you did have a women, maybe there was like the men's group and the women's group. I don't even necessarily mean it's only women in there, because there's women's coaches.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But women's basketball.
Yeah, man, you gotta keep those people niche together, Yep. So I mean, 8 to 10 groups, I'd shoot for I'd probably get 2, maybe I'd get 1 going first, but then like grow 2, then 3, settle in and make sure you can manage that many people, which is not hard. It's a weekly meeting with each group. You're talking 6 hours of work on that. And then it's follow up the rest of the week of reaching out to people, see if they need anything, making sure that they're, opportunities, they're all connecting. And then there's usually an element where you lead the whole group once a month. That's another part of it. When you do a membership like that, what you don't want is you don't want the groups to never interact with each other. Okay. You want it to feel like the community is always the rule. I don't care if it's a high ticket membership or a low ticket membership. The community is why people stay. So they'll have their small little group, but they'll have options to bounce. If they don't like a group, they can go to another one. But you need to once a month, you need an overarching theme, like each month, like something like it could be a book, like that you all read together, and then you do. Then maybe you call the author. Maybe you go get like Coach Cal, and you're like, or somebody, and you get his book, and you all read his book, and it's all inspirational, motivational, and maybe you interview that guy that wrote the book or something. So that brings you in, gives you the rub, from somebody else, and then you're overall, everybody shows up, does a little Q&A with the coach or something. Like that'd be a great head coach thing at the end of the day. Like bring a head coach in every month, especially if they've written a book, right? Because then you got some focus. I think yours is more teaching than most of these I've seen. A lot of these are like masterminds where it's like a hot seat where you go around and ask people what they need, which you can do that. But especially in the beginning, you're trying to get your professional development content created. So you're going to sell it as, I'm going to teach you every Monday, man. I'm going to tell you, you're going to have a call to, I'm going to teach you a concept, give you a call to action. You're going to go do it in the next 7 days. Right. And every time we do one, you're going to get closer to a head coaching job, Other than that, it's just a way to talk to them outside of the meetings. A Facebook group can work great for that. Like each pod has its own Facebook group. Then there's a one for the big group. Voxer, which is a great app where it's asynchronous communication. So I leave you a message, you leave me a message. It threads together like a text thread, so we can talk to each other. That's good. Slack is awesome. The thing about coaches is you got to teach them all this crap and they don't know how to use it. So you got to be real careful. Like Facebook and Twitter might be about as far as you can go with coaches.
Yeah, I agree.
Agree. So, I mean, like that's pretty much it, man. If you can figure out how they talk in the pods, how they talk in the big group, and how they talk to you outside of the member calls, I think this is 1 week away from being able to start selling it,
I agree, Shane. It's something I've been sitting on for a long time.
Yeah. So so how can we, let me figure out how to ask this question. How can we commit to stealing back the proper amount of time to build this very basic thing, because most of your time is going to be spent talking people into joining it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like the time seemed like the major issue, or maybe the consistency. Is time why you're not being consistent, or is it doubt that it'll work? Like what's the actual reason? Procrastination never comes from a guy like you. I know you ain't lazy, so it ain't the procrastination is not coming from I just don't want to do it. It's something there's some kind of something there that's making you not do this, right? So what's causing the procrastination?
I think it's doubt. I also think for someone who has so much public confidence, and I've been in sales, I think it's asking. A lot of these guys are friends of mine too. I had a conversation last week with a Power 5 associate head coach I've known since high school. We played high school ball together, and I've been having kind of discovery calls with him to understand what his challenges are. And I need to pull the trigger. He's another person. He's begging for something like this. I was on the phone with him last week, and I didn't present it. And it's someone I've known since I was a kid.
Dude, make the order form. That's my tip for you this week.
Okay.
All that other stuff you can figure out before the first call. Really, it's just Zoom. Just get Zoom and you got it, right?
Yep.
But like, I want you to make the order form, because if you had the order form, right? Forget the sales page even. If you just had a way for people to give you money, now you got no excuse, because you're on the phone and you're talking and you got a way to take the money.
That's right.
So why you can't make the now? If you make the excuse, you can look in the mirror and go, "Daggone it, Odell, you did it again!" Right? You can look at yourself. Right. What are you doing? Like now you know, because you got the order form.
That's right.
So make the order form. Let's just say $297 a month, right or wrong or indifferent.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And and always remind them, I'm going to help you get a head coaching job.
That's right.
What's that worth?
That's right.
What's that worth? Right. And I think you got to find your three. Who are you probably know them right now. I could tell you. Write them down. There's their names. And you got to get three, man. And you get them to sign up before you even figure all this other stuff out about delivery.
That's right.
We can talk about delivery in the forums. We'll figure that out in 5 minutes.
That's right.
Yeah. And let's see if just the next week you can get 3 to sign up for that thing. You know?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, man. I love it, dude. Hey, let me one more thing. I want you to cast a little vivid vision though, right here. Okay. Because this is important. I want you to think about what it would look like if you led 200 coaches. Right. I want you to think a little bit about, man, what if I did have 5 groups of 10? What if I did have 150 other coaches at a passive income tier? And I want you to kind of play with that today for the rest of the day. And I don't want you to think about it on how cool it would be for Odell. I want you to think about it like, what if half those guys in that group did make the jump at some point in their career to head coach? How many kids' lives would be changed by these men and women that would be going up and leading programs? How many communities would be changed by the head coach of the local college or even the big high school being a really good person who was developed professionally correctly and knew what it took to lead a community? How many coaches' families and family trees would be changed because their mom and dad got the head coaching job and they didn't get stuck at the lower tier with less income? And I want you to really write that down and make that your vision. Okay. And now when you get on that phone call, dude, you're going to say, I can't not sell this. I have to sell this because this has to grow into this to get to there. And for all these communities and all these players and all these families' lives to be changed, I have to put this out into the world. I can't put it off until tomorrow.
Yep.
So write that out, man. Write that vision out. Think about it and get inspired to do this, man. I think you're going to make a big impact.
Great. Thank you.
All right, y'all. That wraps up my interview with Odell McCants. Man, I had a blast talking to Odell. What an amazing member of the Flipped Lifestyle community, an amazing person in there hanging out and building a better future for his family and for families out there that he's going to impact through his online membership. And the longer I'm involved in this business, the longer I'm a member myself of the Flipped Lifestyle community, the more I appreciate all of the great people like Odell that are inside. You know, we like to say we have attracted all the family-focused entrepreneurs on the planet, the people who put faith and family and their future first, a great community of people that are in this to build a better future for themselves, but they're also in it to help other people as well. We would love for you to be a part of the Flipped Lifestyle community. If you put family first, if you want to grow a business that can change your family tree and impact other people all over the world, this is the place for you. We'd love for you to check out the Flipped Lifestyle community. We actually offer a free trial to let you come inside, hang out with our amazing community members, hang out with us on Q&As, and have access to all the great content so you can start your online business journey. To start your free trial, all you have to do is go to flippedlifestyle.com/free. That's FLIPPED lifestyle.com/free. And you can start a free trial today. We've got a member call happening very, very soon. We do orientations to help people get started. All you have to do is go to flippedlifestyle.com/free. And just like Odell, you are going to be off and running in your online business journey. All right, guys, I'm going to bring back a segment on this episode of the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast, backed by popular demand, called Can't Miss Moments. Jocelyn and I used to, on the podcast, we would share things that we got to do in our life that we would never have gotten to do if we were working 9 to 5s, working for other people, or didn't have the financial resources provided by our online business. We call these can't miss moments, things that we just get to do that other people don't do. We lived like no one else, y'all. So now we get to live like no one else. And we get all these can't miss moments. And, you know, we always shared these moments to inspire people who listen to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast and show you what's possible. So these are kind of humble brags a little bit, but they are humble. I want you to know that we're not trying to like rub it in or say, this is what we get to do and this is what we don't. We're trying to say, hey, we didn't know this was possible until we did it. And we want to tell you what's possible so that you will do it too. So my can't miss moment this week that I'd like to share you is something that happened just last week. Like most of the country, back in February, we were knocked out of commission by the big ice storm that was in Texas and all over the Midwest and the South. Our power got completely knocked out. We had no heat, no nothing, and it was getting really, really cold. Now, thank goodness, Jocelyn and I own another house that's about 10, 15 minutes away inside of the city limits of our town. We've got a big property. It's like 40 acres outside of town. It would be a perfect horse farm, but I don't know how to raise horses or keep them alive, so I'm not going to have any horses out there. But we got a lake, we got a lot of land, and we're out in the country. We're out in the sticks. So we're all by ourselves. We got a lot of privacy out there. The problem is the power was out and we didn't know how long it was going to be there and we didn't want to freeze to death. So we went to our other house, which we use as an office. This is actually the house that we lived in back in 2013 when we sold our house, when we downsized to have enough money to quit our jobs. We wanted to lower all of our bills, so we sold our house. We moved into this quaint little 1,800 square foot house, a little nice little house here in town. We sold our nice house, bigger house, whatever you want to call it, so that we could free up income to invest in our online business. We kept this house. It's paid off. We paid this off like probably about 5 years ago, and we turned it into Flipped Lifestyle World headquarters. We got a conference table in the living room. I got my office here. This used to be my bedroom, but now it's my office, so we hang out here. And the heat was still on here. The electric was still on here, so we came over here and we camped out while we waited for all the power to come back on. Now, this would not have been possible before we started our online business. You know, back when we were school teachers, back when we were working normal jobs, there's no way we could have had 2 houses. There's no way we would have had all the options and choices when something went wrong. And there's no way we would have just had to sit there and suffer through the ice storm. But we didn't have to because of the financial resources, because of the way we've spent our money and time. We got to have a can't miss moment. We got to blow up some air mattresses out here. We got to hang out with the kids and eat popcorn. Me and my son are on a Marvel marathon right now, and we're on Guardians of the Galaxy 2. We got to watch movies, we got to play Xbox, and we didn't have to sit in the cold because we had choices. So I hope that inspires you, man. There is more out there. There are great possibilities. When you go out there and create a membership, you get 100 people to pay you $50 a month, make $60,000 a year. When you go out like Odell and you get 300 people, you get 30 people to pay you $300 a month, you can make an amazing income that opens up choices, gives you more options, and you can create these can't miss moments too. My kids would have probably never forgot sleeping all night in the cold, but now they've got that can't miss moment of being warm over at the other place, and it's all because of our online business. All right, guys, about out of time today. Before I leave, I want to share a Bible verse with you. You know, Jocelyn and I get a lot of our inspiration from the Bible in business and in life, and I got a great Bible verse for you today. It's Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 4. The Bible says, "Whoever watches the wind will not plant. Whoever looks at the clouds will not reap." And guess what? Whoever just listens to podcasts and don't go take action, you ain't ever going to have an online business. You're never going to create a better future for your family. You're just sitting there watching the wind. You're watching the clouds. You're listening to the conversation, but you're not taking action and being a part of it. Just like Odell, I told him today, man, you got everything in place, but you're just watching the wind. You need to go take action. You need to get this out there. You need to go get your order form. You need to put it in front of people, and you need to get your first 3 people signed up. I'm telling you today to stop watching the wind, stop watching the clouds, stop just listening to the podcast. Get out there. Go to fliplifestyle.com/free and start your journey and do, keyword, do, underline it, bold it, italic, everything you can, highlight it in orange. Do whatever it takes to flip your life. Until next time, get out there and take action. Make it happen. Stop just wishing for a better future and go build it. We will see you next time.
Bye.
I tell you, I've spent so much time listening to everybody out there, and I discovered you and Jocelyn on Pat Flynn's podcast, and you guys just really, you talk about, finding your people and them finding you, and you all just and when I really stood up when I learned about your coaching background, but you all as educators and you as a former coach and from Kentucky and your foundation of faith and family, it just all resonated with me. And I said, this is the guy, and that voice too. I put on there that voice. I said, this is the guy who's going to get me going, make some progress here.
Love it, dude.
Yeah,
I'm here to help. Hey, I've been making people run through brick walls since I was 25. I just now do it. Now I do it on the mic instead of on the football field.
That's right. That's right.
Right, man. One more thing before we go. Thank you so much for listening to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. If you love the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast, if we bring a little joy and a little happiness and we bring some knowledge into your life every single week, could you do us a favor? Go to Apple Podcast and hit subscribe. Download a few of the podcast episodes onto your phone. Apple's algorithm loves seeing downloads, and it loves seeing those subscribes. And please leave us an honest review over on Apple Podcast. That'll help us grow the show, expand the mission, and reach more people so that we can help them change their family's future as well. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.